So I'm here today because our principal has asked me to put together a quick presentation that covers the safe, legal, and ethical uses of digital information. To start with, I wanted to emphasize how important it is to use technology in our classrooms. I'm not here to tell you it's too dangerous and we shouldn't use it, but we also must consider the dangers that it puts on our students in our classroom. For my presentation, I will cover 4 different topics. The first one is dangers, the second is the legal rights, third is some safety tips to remember, and the fourth is the ethical use. Now I've handed you guys all a handout that kind of goes by this presentation in order, and it gives you some bullet points and some of the most important information from this presentation. So if you want to follow along with me, you can do that, or ask me questions along the way, that'd be fine too. So the first topic are the potential internet dangers, and the main one is cyberbullying. And according to a website that I found called dosomething.org, nearly 42% of kids have been bullied online, and almost 1 in 4 have said that it's happened frequently to them. Because kids have so many different technology devices, from their cell phones to their computers to iPads and so on, cyberbullying can happen anywhere and at any time. This includes on school grounds, in our classrooms. It happens all the time, so it's hard to be aware of all of the times it happens, but by getting educated and being aware of it, we can prevent cyberbullying from happening. Another potential danger is the exposure to inappropriate material. Children may come across inappropriate information on the internet by chance, or they may have sought out for these sites themselves. When we give children time on the internet, they may finish their work early, so their friends and them may want to go to different websites and play around and be silly, but in reality it's a potential danger for them. Sometimes even just mistyping a word can result in sites coming up that may not be appropriate for them to view. Children being exposed to material that is not suited for their age has become kind of a big concern today. A third potential is the factor of online predators. And this has become a real problem because of all the new advances in technology and social networking sites such as Facebook and MySpace, instant messaging, blogging, those things. When you are on those social networking sites, people can hide behind the computer as their identity. And when a child thinks they're talking to a student from school, they may be talking to an online predator and putting themselves into danger without knowing. The final internet danger is revealing too much personal information. This kind of ties in to the online predator. When you're talking to somebody you may not know, you may be giving them your phone number, your address to come see you, certain things like that. Also, signing up for scam websites. Kids do that sometimes. Sports websites, gaming websites, things like that. They're putting themselves into danger by doing that as well. My second topic is the legal rights, a set of exclusive rights granted to the author or creator of an original work, including the right to copy, distribute, and adapt the work, is a copyright law. That's important to know. Also, all users need to understand and model copyright laws and fair use policies. So that leads into my next idea, which is the fair use policy, and this is the right to use copyright materials without permission or payment under some circumstances. And I think that last part of that statement is what's most important. Under certain circumstances, that's important to remember. There are 5 practices where it's accepted to practice fair use of copyrighted materials wherever and however it occurs. This is in K through 12 education, in higher education, nonprofit organizations that offer programs for children and youth, and also in adult education as well. When it comes to breaking the fair use policy, the penalties for infringement are very harsh. The court can award up to $150,000 for each separate act of willful infringement. A fair use example that I found is a teacher renting the movie Gone with the Wind to show the burning of Atlanta scene to her class while studying the Civil War. While an example of a case that's not covered under fair use is a high school video class produces a student video yearbook that they sell at community events to raise money for equipment for the school. They use well-known popular music clips. The money all goes to the school, and the songs are fully listed in the credits. So while those two examples that I just listed are somewhat similar, the outcomes are completely different. The first one is legal, while the second one is illegal. So as teachers, we need to be aware of these copyright and fair use laws and demonstrate them in our classrooms, as well as educate our students on how they work. The third topic I will cover are some important safety tips to remember as teachers. The first one is to install safety software programs. Some school districts have these while some don't. I think they're a great idea because they block certain websites that students should not be allowed to go on. You can also monitor what the students are doing on their computer, just on your computer with just a click away. I think that's cool because you don't have to walk around and monitor, because when that happens, kids, exit out of what they're not supposed to be looking at. Also, one of the softwares that I found is called Safe Eyes. This program was cool because it could also be used for mobile devices as well. Obviously, we can't use this at school, but parents can do this at home, and working together with parent-teacher relationship is always important. My second tip is to recognize the warning signs of potential risks. This means walking around, and if they're exiting out of their window every time you walk around, if they're looking at you like they're doing something wrong. There's a bunch of signs that you can look for when something is not right. My third tip would be place a time limit on the amount of computer time you allow for your students. While you want to give them the responsibility of using the internet appropriately, they still are children, and they need to have rules set forth so they can follow them. I think if you give them enough time, they can get their work done, and but if you give them too much time, then that gives them time to play around and go on websites that they may not supposed to be on. My final tip would be to learn how to use the devices and explore the same websites yourself. When you do this, you are not only helping your students, but you're becoming well educated on how they use these, why they like these websites, things such as that. Also, using webcams would be important to learn how to use. Even though they don't use these much at school, I think it's important to know what they're doing at home as well as at school to keep them safe. My final topic would be the ethical use. And a good way to look at ethical use is to ask yourself if what you're doing on the internet is morally correct. This would be a good question to put out to your students as well to think about when they're using websites and things like that. Something teachers should do is use technology in the classroom to teach respect for the intellectual property rights of others. This means while you're using computers that are owned by the district, it's important to teach your kids that while they're given this privilege, they need to respect the property and use it appropriately. Also, always cite in documents and handouts of any type that you distribute to your students. I think this one's important. This way you're demonstrating to your students that while I didn't write this, I'm citing it in an appropriate way. Also, model the privacy rights of your students. This one was interesting. I never thought of this, but some of the examples that they gave were not putting your students' names, pictures of them online without parent permission. Teach your students how and when to cite sources they use. Later in life, high school, college, you have to cite everything you use. It's very important for plagiarism. So the earlier you teach them, the better off they will be. Finally, talk about cyber ethics in your classroom. This could be done even as a lesson plan. You can have your kids go up to the board and write down things that they think are appropriate to do and put online, and things that they think aren't appropriate and okay to do online. I think this will kind of draw the line out for them on what they think is okay and not okay. Finally, I found a video that I think is very interesting.
I'm Dr. Putt, and this is 60-second positive parenting. Today's positive parenting topic is internet safety. With the internet, we have a wonderful opportunity to research things, to find things, to gather information. We can use it for papers and projects and to find old friends. The problem is when teens are on the internet, we have to make sure that they're being safe. We have to make sure that the information that they're using and that they're accessing are things that we think are appropriate. There's a fine line here. We need to be very cautious. We need to respect some privacy and we need to have that balance, but we also need to make sure that they're doing things that are appropriate. One great example is the history. If we notice that the history on the computer is deleted, that is an area of major concern. There is no reason why a child should go in and erase it. And if they are, we need to find out what it is that they're doing. The same thing with social networking sites like Facebook. If they're posting things, you should have the ability to access it. Now you can negotiate the rules with them about how you do it and when you do it, but the important thing is to make sure that the content that they're putting on is something that's going to keep them safe. It isn't exposing them or isn't going to cause them problems later on in life. These things can be worked out easily. We just need to be thoughtful about how we do it.
Finally, I found a video online on YouTube, and it's directed towards kids that are kindergarten through third grade that kind of demonstrates the importance of internet safety, and it kind of puts it into perspective in a cute, fun way. And I won't show the whole thing, but I'll show you a little bit of it.
Everyone, let's sit down at our assigned computer. Go ahead and log in using your username. Remember, your student number is your password. Click OK to log in.
Aw, what am I going to do?
I can help you get your student number, Jackster. Come up here by my desk. Bobo, just log in and click the OK button to begin. Then double-click on the safety icon for today's activity.
Some things about the internet.
Okay, that sounds fun. But I don't know anything about the internet. I don't even know what that is.
That's okay, Bobo. The internet is all of the information you can access on your computer that is stored on someone else's computer. It's how you go to websites. Do you know what websites are?
Sure. My dad shows me websites sometimes.
So I hope that I have given you some good ideas and things that you can implement in your classrooms about the safe, legal, and ethical use of digital information. Also, on my handouts that I gave out to you guys, I wrote down all of my sources. And so if you want more information on this, you can go to each one of those sources. They're easy to use and they're fun to look at, and you can get more information on that.